Hey guys, Paul Peterson from First Lite here. Got a gear explosion to run you guys through today. I drew a Primo spring bear tag here in Idaho, and seeing as it's kind of the first hunt of the year and good combination, or I anticipate it being a good combination of a backpack hunt and kind of a car truck camp day hunt type of scenario. Seemed like a really good opportunity to break down what I'll be using. Gives us a chance to show you what gear from First Lite I'll be taking along and a bunch of other stuff as well. So what I like to do every year before taking to the field, like to go through, make a list of what I'm packing, break it down from clothing, my pack, what I carry in it, what optics I'll be using, shelter, weapons, ammunition, and just try to break things down from a macro to a micro level. Inevitably, I forget something every year, so this is just the annual exercise in trying to mitigate that. So for starters, I think we'll run through the clothing system I'm using. Something to bear in mind on any hunt, I think it's really helpful to kind of fall back on a five-piece layering system. If you fall back on 5 layers in almost any situation, early to late season hunts all over the world, you're going to be covered for just about anything. You obviously can dial that system into specific areas, conditions. This being a spring hunt in the Rocky Mountains, probably going to be facing super variable conditions. Could see snow, could see 70, 80 degree temperatures, wind, rain, sleet, you name it. So this kit is built with the widest range of conditions in mind. What I'm starting out with and what I use on most every hunt is the Wick 150 base layer. Ultra breathable, dries super fast, great for a lot of activity if you know you're going to be generating a lot of heat. This hunt's in steep, big country, so anticipate doing a lot of hiking and definitely getting the heart rate up and sweating quite a bit. So Wick 150 is my base layer I'll be going with. Moving to the mid layer, I've got the Klamath Grid Fleece. I mix it up a lot between our Kiln 250 and the Klamath as my mid layer. In this case, I'm opting for the Klamath because frankly, I foresee a lot of times where I'll be climbing and just be rocking the Wick, get to the top of the ridge, exposed knob, and I'm gonna be sitting down to do some glassing, looking for bears. And in a lightweight form, this breaks the wind super well and super toasty. So that's the reason I'm going with that guy. Moving up, I've got my lightweight next to skin. I've got my mid layer. Now I'm moving to insulation. In the event we do see a lot of cold weather, or even high winds, having an insulator is going to make a big difference. This is our Brooks down sweater, ultralight, super packable. It's 10.5 ounces. You can pack it down super tiny, which I can show you. This thing darn near gets down to the size of a water bottle of Nalgene if you're smart about how you pack it. Takes up hardly any space in the pack, super light, great piece to have along for any variable hunt. The fourth piece of that 5-layer system is an active shell. Taking the corrugate guide jacket on this one. This thing is going to be sweet if I'm in a lot of wind, light rain, like conditions that don't really warrant a true rain shell. I want something that's a bit more breathable, better for activity. Corrugate's going to be an excellent option. It's also just super durable. So if I'm moving through any really rough country and don't want to rip things up, this makes a great protective layer. And then we are rounding things out with, in this case, the Seek Storm-Tight jacket. So this part of the state during this season, we can see monsoon type rains. So thinking about packability and weight, the Vapor would be super nice. But if we do run into those more severe conditions, the Seek's going to be a lot better option. So I'll suck up the weight and bring it along. All this applies on your lower extremities too. Wick long boxers, personal favorite. Can wear them for days. They don't smell. I've tested it. It works. Obsidian pants. Love these for just about any hunt. Keep it cool when it's hot, warm when it's cold. Don't smell. Virtually silent. Just a great do-it-all hunting pant. And then not taking an insulating layer. I'm not taking puffy pants or anything. Being a spring hunt, I just don't think I'll need it unless something crazy happens. But definitely taking a rain pant. In this case, going with the Boundary Storm Tight rain pant. The reason I'm not taking our Seek pant is because I think I can get away with these, and I do want to, save space and weight in the pack in some areas. Choosing to do that with the pant versus the jacket. So that's tops and bottoms. Obviously got headwear too. I'm almost always taking a neck gaiter in the field. Being redheaded and fair skin, cover my face up. Saves me a lot of agony later in the day. Also just nice and comfy. If it does get cold, keeps you warm. I'm always taking a ball cap in the field. Sometimes a 5-panel, sometimes a trucker hat. Usually wear the trucker hat. Seems like carrying a tag cuff beanie. Great insulator if you got to keep the ears warm. Other accessories, I'll be taking our Airwool liner gloves, just a lightweight glove, packs down into nothing. And I'll combo that with a Shell hybrid glove. If it's warm, obviously don't need either. But if it does get cool, wear the liner glove. If it does get cold, combo them up. I'm going to be covered. We've got tops, bottoms, most accessories, footwear. We need footwear next. I would use our Mountain Athlete Triad sock for most hunts. Super versatile. Comes up to just under the knee. You can roll them down if you want. Keep your legs a little cooler, but just a great kind of do-it-all wool sock. Go to on most hunts. And that's a good segue into footwear, which I know is a hot topic for a lot of people. This hunt's in super steep, rough country, big country, and as I keep alluding to, the weather conditions could be super variable. So I will take a couple pairs of boots along and just kind of play it by ear, see what the conditions are like to determine what I'm going to be wearing. I use the Salomon X Ultras for early archery antelope, archery elk, even into October deer if conditions permit. So if it's, a little bit drier, not a ton of weather in the forecast, it's not too muddy, the conditions aren't too gnarly. Love these boots. They work really well for my feet. I'll combo those up with our Traverse gaiter just to keep, scree and gravel and grass and all that nasty stuff out of my socks. If it gets gnarly, if it's super wet or just a muddy, nasty mess, I'll wear Schnee's Beartooth. It's a full rubber end. Going to be nice for side hilling. Going to be a more waterproof option. And I'll probably combo those up with our Brambler gaiter just to kind of save wear and tear on everything else in those nasty conditions. So I think that covers everything I would wear that's pretty much in contact with my body. And if I'm moving through my list, I think what we can jump right into would be what I'm carrying. So let's talk about packs. For the last year, I've been running this K2 frame with a 2000 bag from Exo Mountain Gear. Absolutely love the pack. It's not the lightest, it's not the heaviest, but it's super intuitive. I love the functionality of it. I personally like the smaller size bag because it makes me carry less. I don't pack my insecurities as often. And I can still get away with doing, I can do darn near 5 nights to a week out of this thing if I have to because of the modularity it affords. Couple things worth mentioning that I add on to this pack, and that'll be super important for springtime and wet weather. Exo makes an insertable dry bag. They call it the FTE, Forget the Elements dry bag. Let's unzip the main compartment here to show you. So what you do, the dry bag actually clips in and also connects to the bottom, so it's nice and secure in the bag. And this will give you a sense, if you open the main compartment, the dry bag is living in here. So not only can you insert things from the top that you know you want to live in the dry bag, that you want to keep protected, if you want to keep food or anything you don't care about getting wet on the exterior, you can do that too and access it from the main compartment. Love the feature. Pretty much guaranteed option to keep things dry and secure. And I run this in a lot of cases just to, protect all my gear. I've also run in a bladder in this pack. If the bladder ever exploded, I know my layers and gear in that bag are going to be fine. Some sort of food pack or something explodes or melts, this bag protects everything. It's just a nice option. I'm not going to take it apart and show you, but I add Exo's load crib to this pack. So you can maybe see it, this blaze orange piece of fabric in there. Basically helps weight ride up higher on your back when your packing loads out. Had some lower back issues in the day. Keeping that weight high and tight really helps me out. Enables me to carry a lot more with a lot more ease. Nice add-on that they offer. So that's what I'm using for a pack. As far as what lives in my pack on most hunts, and in this hunt in particular, trinkets, toiletries, aid kit, kill kit, got it all right here. Try to keep it minimal. In this bag, I've got a little mix of everything. I've got a lighter with medical and electrical tape for bandaging or for tags, whatever you need it for. Extra headlamp batteries. This is a Petzl Tika headlamp. Matches, electrolyte tabs, a bandage, tenacious tape. Oh, kind of all over the board here, but all things for treating minor wounds or for doing minor gear repairs and whatnot. Got TP, of course. Realized I haven't picked up any wet wipes for the year, so this is a good reminder. Good reason to go through this stuff. I've also got kill kit. I like to carry a heavier pocket knife, usually. Just personal style. I also, in the kill kit, carry a Havalon, extra blades, orange flagging tape for marking shot location, last blood, etc., and a little case for used Havalon blades. Always carry some paracord, super handy if something breaks down or need to pitch tarp. Game bags, part of the kill kit, of course. What else is living in the pack? Got to have coffee on the mountain, one way or another. So I've just got a little bit of isobutane, a pocket rocket, super lightweight, easy to brew up heat up some water quick, dump in the quick. What's the word I'm looking for? I can't even think of what type of coffee this is.
Instant coffee.
Instant coffee. Yeah, thank you. Brain fart of the day. Like making instant coffee on the mountain. I always carry a flask of whiskey on the mountain. It's 2 rules on when you can drink it, either for good luck or for celebrating the harvest of an animal. That's open for interpretation, but I always do it responsibly. I always carry an Nalgene, nice for mixing up electrolyte tabs if you're feeling dehydrated. It's just a way to carry extra water. I do have a bladder in my pack, if I didn't mention that earlier. I think that's just about everything that not quite. Yeah, living in the pack, seat pad. This is a crappy blue foam pad, but this lives in my pack at all times. Super lightweight, doesn't take up any space. Going to be paramount on this hunt since we're going to be doing a lot of glassing. As far as what lives in my pack properly, that's pretty much everything on a smaller scale. I think what we can move onto from there are some of the more important items like optics. As you can see here, we've got a pretty good spread of them. I'll start with my harness since I'm wearing that on me as well with my pack. What I've got here is an FHF bino harness. Worth noting for this hunt, I'll usually run just a pair of 10x42s with a rangefinder. So I've got this rangefinder pocket that configures on the side of the harness. I'm going to scratch that for this hunt. Here we've got some new 10x42 Fury HDs, Vortex's range finding binocular. I think they're going to be super handy for this hunt, seeing as it's such big and vertical country. I could see a lot of scenarios where I'm just glassing up a ridgeline to determine how far that ridgeline is from an animal. I think it'll be really nice, make for relatively easy use in determining if I can get to a certain point to make a shot, etc. Also, in terms of weight, and just toying around and wearing this harness with those Fury binos, they're quite heavy, but in comparison to a rangefinder and a binocular in combination, it's pretty similar. So I'm going to scratch the rangefinder for this one and toy with that system, see how it goes. That'll be on me at all times. What will live in my pack for this hunt is this little guy right here. This is a Razor HD. It's an 11x33 with a 50mm objective lens. This thing weighs about 1.5 pounds, and as you can see, is super low profile. Really easy to stash in the pack. Super good glass. Between this and those binos, shouldn't have any problem cutting that country up. This is sitting on top of Vortex's Pro GT tripod. This will be in my pack pretty much the whole hunt. And on that note, I will carry a bino adapter. Eyes can get fatigued staring through the spotter. Can switch it up, throw these Furies on this little adapter. I've got a super versatile system for glassing while we're out there. That'll be kind of my daily use optics kit. I am going to take the Big Mama 27x60 with a 85 objective Razor HD. Could very well see times where we're, down low, looking up, trying to cut up a bunch of country, and this big guy will really come in handy at those times. I think that about does it for optics. Run through my list here in terms of, I could mention what's in the harness. I know people like to keep different things in their harness. Before we move away from that, I always carry a multi-tool just in case you need to do any little repairs on a tripod, optics, pack, boots, etc. Have the little Leatherman's really handy. I've got wind check in here just to stay on top of things. I keep a little lens cloth in this front pocket, and then they've got a pocket in the back where you can keep your tags nice and safe. So you've got some real important tools all right on your chest, easy to access, hard to lose as well. I think those little things are worth mentioning. While I'm looking here too, I realized I forgot about a really cool little tool for my phone. I've got an Outdoorsman's digiscoping adapter. It's just this little thing that glues on my phone, and you can screw this ring onto it like such, and then just pop it on your spotter. This ring works for the big guy I'll show you here. It's quite simple. Just pops on just like that. Turn your camera on, and you're able to easily photograph and film things you're looking at. This can also help with reducing eye fatigue. It's easy to glass on a tripod through your phone, and you don't have to close one eye. Something I've thought about too that I think will come in handy with this is I haven't done a lot of bear hunting. This is going to be a big learning experience for me. Hopefully going to get to look at a lot of bears, and I'm sure anybody who has looked into bear hunting hears about how hard they are to judge. So I think it could be super handy to try to get footage of different bears running by guys who know more than me and maybe learn a bit about things you should look for, signs of what indicates a bigger bear or an older bear, etc. So looking forward to playing with that while out in the field for sure. I do believe that wraps up optics. Let me run through my list here. Yes, I think we're looking good. We've got clothing, we've got pack, everything that lives in it, harness, optics. I think maybe we should talk about what kind of shelter we're using on this hunt. Where we're headed, I'm not going to tell you exactly where we're going, but like I said, super big, super steep country. That being said, there is a lot of road access, so could be a combination of running day ups from a base camp, and there could be times where we feel it's optimal and in our best interest to live on the mountain. Base camp wise, I think that's going to be the way we attack this to start, is set a base camp, a place we can travel out from every morning and come back to every night. That way we can access a lot of different ground. What I have here, I'm not going to break it all out and set it up. That would just take too long. But I have Cimarron teepee and stove from Seek Outside. This says Gunnison tarp. I just put it in a smaller bag. Cimarron, if you're unfamiliar, you can check them out on Seek's website. Go Hunt also does some great reviews on the Seek teepees and tents if you're curious about, their size and kind of how to set them up and how they function. But this thing's ideal for 2 guys, gear, a dog. I don't know if you can see them running around. We've always got dogs. You can comfortably sleep that many guys, that much gear with a stove. Really nice option. We'll probably set that as the base, just down low somewhere. This is the stove, so it's a super minimal kit. Gonna use this a lot more later in the year for late season deer and whatnot, but it'll be fun using it as a base camp for this go around. Just nice to save space in the truck, actually set up a tent outside, not just totally truck camp the whole thing. If we do decide to live on the mountain, or if I do, in this pack here, I think you guys will like this. I have a tarp, I've got my bivvy, I've got a quilt, and I've got a sleeping pad. Everything here where it weighs, I think, about 3.2 pounds is what I'm coming in at. And this can take me through idyllic summertime conditions, well into sub-freezing, late season conditions if I want it to. So I'll show you what I got going on here. We've got a 20-degree Enlightened Equipment quilt. It's a down quilt. Again, you can use this early season just as is. I'm going to stay plenty warm, maybe even sleeping with it unzipped and just kind of covering up. But if I wear a puffy jacket, puffy pants later in the year, I can really stretch it down into sub-freezing temps. In this case, just quilt as is should be fine. In here, we've got another piece from Seek Outside. This is a Gunnison tarp. So, throughout the year, if you need any sort of rain cover, this tarp's, I can't remember the exact dimensions, but more than adequate to cover up my whole sleeping setup. I probably should have mentioned it earlier. I will carry this in my bag throughout this hunt. If rain does roll in and we're glassing, you can just pitch this thing, make a nice glassing shelter. This thing weighs 8 ounces, so it's really easy to pack along and stash away. That's 2 parts of that kit. I've got a Neo Air X-Lite pad. This thing weighs about 12 ounces, packs down super small as you can see. And rounding out that sleep system, I've got a Recon bivvy from Enlightened Equipment. I'm sure it's hard to kind of see the volume of all this stuff, but this thing weighs about 6 ounces. Some of you might be wondering, why do you need a bivvy if you've got a bag and a tarp and a pad? You probably scratch the bivvy over there. And in a lot of cases, this is going to keep bugs off you. Ticks are super prevalent in the zone we're going to, so this is just a nice protective, little shelter for you that's gonna keep those little creepy crawlies off you. It also holds in some heat, and having a down quilt keeps some moisture out of your system, so staying as warm as possible. All right. So you got base camp shelter, super minimalist, lightweight overnight shelter. Covered all those bases. And again, if you're curious about any of that stuff, Seek on their website does a great job of showing kind of how everything looks set up and kind of runs you through the different purposes for each model they offer. Go Hunt does the same thing. Moving through the list, I think all we've really got left is the gun and weapon system I'm using for the hunt. As you can see in front of you, you can't see any specs on it, but What I have there is a Remington Model 700 chambered in 257 Roberts, the Bob, if you will. My grandpa gave me this gun when he passed on. It's his old Northern Wisconsin deer rifle. I've actually never shot an animal with it, so kind of a cool opportunity to get this thing out in the field. I've always wanted to go on a hunt and take a big game animal with this gun, kind of in memory of him. So this is a cool opportunity to do so. Some of you might think it's a little bit of a light round for this hunt. I definitely bore that in mind. What I'm shooting through it is a 117 grain high-speed round. Factory loads right now, but probably going to shoot a Hornady SST. This gun's going to be solid from 400 yards in. I'm not worried about the knockdown power at all. It's also a super smooth shooting rifle. I shoot it well and put a premium on placement versus damage control. We've got a 4x16x44 Viper HS on top of it. Again, I'm not a long range enthusiast. It's going to be a nice 400 yard gun and to kind of help this thing out, we threw a Spartan Javelin bipod on there, super lightweight carbon bipod. Just a nice tool to have in the field. Everything else on the gun is totally stock, so nothing too crazy going on there. Yeah, no, excited to get out in the field and see what we can do with it. But other than that, I don't think I've missed anything. That's a full rundown for you. If you guys have questions on any of the gear or are curious about how the hunt's going, if you see this by then, you can give me a shout or hit us up at First Lite. Be glad to run you through things. I'm sure there are some things I skipped over and missed, and if you're looking for clarification, just let us know.